All right, here we go. Yo, greetings everybody. This is Wesley Pepper. This is the Lexcia podcast. This is episode 109. And yeah, we are sometime in close to Easter, I think, something like that. So the years moved on. Yeah, everybody, just to pick up the Anton series coming through last week's episode. Yeah, man, I'm definitely going to be talking to him sometime soon, sometime later, in regards to some form. Man, we were brainstorming on a few more ideas, sort of like round table discussions, but I'll introduce that and I'll talk about that. I haven't published, we haven't published anything with African Genius podcast as, just hold on. Yeah, everybody. So I haven't published anything yet by what I didn't publish last week with the African Genius. That's because my brother Sal Kevelan, he was dealing with some things that side. I don't really think I want to talk about it on this platform. But yeah, I hope everything's going well on that side, my king. So we will still be recording a few more of those episodes as we move forward. Yeah, I also just one more thing. Gallery 360 Africa, we are we are refining the app and we are refining the bugs, and we've eliminated most of them, and we are busy cross-testing the app actually as we speak. So I've been saying this for an entire year, but we are close to done. So yeah, I'll be announcing that on all my social media platforms. Today we're talking art, which is really cool, man. I don't think I've actually spoken to a visual artist for some time now, so I'm looking forward to this. So today I'm talking to Sinalo Ntuli. He's man, I know him from the artist proof days, so he's a visual artist. And visual artist is a really broad thing. So you start off doing one thing, but you end up actually mastering and working on multiple techniques. But recently, he's been working a lot with beads. He's been working a lot with with mixed media, and as you can see, that beautiful artwork in the background, that yellow. So we're gonna be starting with, I mean, we're gonna be unpacking everything, his processes, art, and everything. So my brother Sinalo, how are you doing, my king?
How are you, man?
How are you doing, my brother?
No, I'm doing well. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, I was telling my listeners about visual art being such a broad, we all started off drawing something, and then it either went into printmaking to mixed media and so on and so on. So we're gonna unpack
Yeah.
everything to do with your work today, your technique, your current shows, the artwork behind you, and everything. But let's start from the beginning, my brother. Can you just give my listeners just a brief about who you are, where you're from, and that type of thing, and then we'll jump straight into your work.
Okay. Snallow is a visual artist, but I grew up in. I was born and raised in Stenga. That's in KZN, in Krautville. I started to draw at primary. I was in a boarding school at Maria Reiches, which is in Washbank. I think that's in Natal Midlands. There was a friend of mine, he was a senior to me. He used to draw a lot, especially after we've been watching a video, and he'll come back and draw exactly what was happening, Chuck Norris and the bullets coming out of the gun.
Sure.
So all those things, and I was so fascinated, and I was also good in drawing maps in class and plants and all those things. So I just felt very fond of him, and I was hanging with him a lot. So he was like my mentor, but
Yeah,
not
man.
knowing what was going on. Yeah.
Sure.
And then that until I went to Escort High School, then I found a subject called art. Obviously, I had to take it, and yeah, that was my life. And I
And
started to
everything just
be
took off from there.
yeah, just took off from there until I met an accident when I was doing grade 11. I was knocked by a car and I was in a coma in 15 days unconscious. But God's grace, I'm alive, and my skull cracked, but then inside my brains were swollen. So waking up, I had to learn how to stand, how to walk, and all those things. Physio was my thing. I was very forgetful. So my life turned in a way. But I went back to Escort High. Still, my mind was very weak for me to grasp things, to hold them. And then I remember that I quit. I went to an art college in Durban Central College. That's when I started to do my N2 and all that. Then my life started. Yeah.
Hectic, bro. That's pretty
Hectic,
crazy
very.
with the
Yeah.
coma.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, bro. So big up to, I mean, to overcoming that must have been massive. I'm
Yeah.
sure, I'm sure to overcome that. I don't even know where to start with that. That's just an incredible story. How old were you when it happened again? You said grade 11. So how old were you, more or less?
Yeah. Yeah. I was 16, I think.
Fuck. So you were like grown up and
Yeah.
stuff. You
And yeah, and I was on my way to Australia to play tennis. I was already number one at school,
shit.
first team tennis. I learned tennis there. I became number one in there on my fourth year.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah,
That's quite one of the most consistent narratives with all artists that I've interviewed and I know personally is that the art got born out of some
yeah,
form of pain. Pain is central to the creating or to becoming an artist, and the pain comes in different shapes and sizes.
yeah,
That's actually quite incredible. So I mean, look, my brother, I know that you ended up at APS, and to my listeners, that's Artist Group Studios in Johannesburg,
yeah, yeah,
and like there was a printmaking part of your life, but so I know visual art also has a full it's a real long journey with lots of twists and turns. But let's talk
yeah.
about your technique, or starting there. If your work got born out of, I mean, if the sarcoma was such a, I mean, I can't even imagine how hectic that had to be. How did your, how can I say, what was your approach to drawing after that? Was it a form of healing, or did you just draw because it was in you? And what were you drawing?
Um, it was just because it was the only thing that I could master. I could do better than any other thing. So I spent most of my time drawing since it was my hobby. Yeah, and then and I thought it was the only way for me to get somewhere in life is to go through studies in fine arts and try and equip myself. Yeah, and luckily I went to different provinces. So I had to I got a chance to grasp different techniques from different places and different ways of tackling art. Yeah. So that
Crazy.
also broadened my scope in the arts. Yeah.
So when did it come that or what was it that made you decide that you want to be, that art is your full-time career?
Um, in 1997, when I got the first opportunity to get into a college, a fine art college. Yeah, that's when I knew that, this is where I belong and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
What college was it?
Durban Central College. It was also called Centec College
Mm, Okay, so
in
around 97,
Morningside. Yeah.
that was I also started art school around about the same time. I went to art school
Yeah.
in 96, from 96 to
Oh,
99. So
yeah.
we the same
We,
age.
yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. We the same there. My brother, let's get into, okay. So if you were there, you'd probably be in like in your late teens, early 20s. At that time, what were you drawing, man? What was your subject matter? What was inspiring the work?
Um, around about those times, we were more into figure drawings. And yeah, I remember that it was mostly figure drawings. And then when I was in Durban, I also tried to do landscapes. like cityscapes, because that was what was around me. And the seascapes, it was not my thing, because
There's a delay in broadcast there. I'm sure it's something to do with the network. So just bear with us. Everybody, we just had a break in transmission there, but we'll just pick up the conversation where we picked up. We'll start the conversation where we picked up. So, Sinalo, you were telling us about subject matter, how you were grappling with doing landscapes versus seascapes and so forth. Can we just pick it up from there?
Yeah, not that I found it very difficult. For me, it was just boring, because it was just flat. I always want texture.
Yeah,
Texture
man.
has been always my thing, even since
Yeah.
high school. Yeah, I used to draw very lovely drawings in stippling. So I'm patient enough, and I think let me just say, so I'm patient enough to take my time in order to complete one piece, and make it look perfect or something like that.
That's an interesting point.
What really changed my themes was when I came back to Joburg to study printmaking at Artist Studio. That was in 1999, and at the same time I was attending at Funda College. So I was a full-time art student, even on weekends. Yeah, so it was a nice way of stretching myself, and
Sure.
just to suck in information from all these great artists, since I was taught by great Richmond Telezi, Mbongeni, Charles Nkosi, Kim Berman, and Tanta Kawa. So there were a lot of like big guys who were above me, and guys to look up to. So also that gave us oomph.
Can you just tell my listeners about something about your experience working with Nhlanhla Xaba? So I actually came to the studio a year after he passed away, so I didn't have the privilege of meeting him. So but I was very good friends with his son at the time. Not at the time, we were just very good friends that time. But like I know his reputation and his art. I was also really, when I introduced his work, how everything about it was really cool. So you can just tell us a little bit about your experiences in working with him. What was it like? What was he like as a person? What did he? Do you remember? Did you learn anything from him? That type of thing.
Not that we did learn many things from him, but we used to visit his studio aside, but he never wanted people around him. He was a very quiet, distant guy. So we'll just sneak in now and then, and see. He did mostly abstracts. He had very wonderful abstract paintings, yeah. And I remember him teaching us linos and everything, and introducing us to artist proof, yeah. So he was full of jokes and quite a serious guy at the same time. He was just fun, but you could see that he was a bit kind of a lonely person, because he would withdraw and be alone. He never wanted to talk a lot. If you come to him and ask for advice, you just say no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. So he was always someone who shut himself up away from us. He liked his loneliness, I think. I don't know. Maybe that's where he found his peace. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that about him. Funny enough, I can strangely relate to that.
Yeah.
Back then, if my maths was correctly, so you were like in your early 20s, my brother. Tell me, like, I know as a visual, as or rather as a professional, in your late teens, early 20s, that's when you start finding your feet, when you start finding your
Yeah.
technique, and when you really refine it in your 30s and so on. But where was your headspace back then? What were you looking at? What was making sense to you? What were you drawing? What were you conceptualizing? And then we can start unpacking it from there.
I think the time that I got to think of a theme to focus on was when I had finished my 3-year portfolio development at Artist Proof and my 3-year visual arts at Funda. I went down to KZN. I was an artist in resident at the Bed Center. That's when I rediscovered myself, because the artists over there were, I mean, their themes were very different from the themes that I was used to. I was used to township scenes and all that, as from the time I was studying up here in Joburg. So my theme also had to change, and because I needed to fit in, you know.
Yeah, man.
And fortunately, there was this read dance happening, and I realized that, you know what, this is something that we need to promote. We need to expose, because there could be that many people are not even aware of such a way of living, and you know, and how these young ladies are being adored around their communities. They are respected. You can't even touch any of them. The community will beat you up like, I don't know. So it's a respect that is given to a woman who takes care of herself like that. I fell in love with the way they dress up, but I started to draw them and paint them. At that time, the beads technique had not been on my mind. I was struggling to actually capture the beading part, but until I came up to Joburg again in 2009, I don't know, something just told me. I just thought of beads, and I went and looked for beads, and I found them. I started to incorporate beads on top of the paintings that I've done, dressing the figures now in beads. And it was so wonderful. And by then, I was just dressing them on beads, with beads. But until a client from London came, Mandy, I remember, I forgot her surname, just during the World Cup, and she requested that, why don't I start to do everything on beads? Maybe that would be very interesting. It was very challenging, but I did started with a small painting, of which I still do have. I've kept it. Yeah, and from there on, I've been painting with fully on beads until I really started to make more works. So because I'm versatile, I know a lot of techniques, as I've been to different institutions, and yeah, so I started to incorporate collage, pointillism, normal painting, and a lot of things. So yeah, and I also discovered that I can also use mabele seeds, cooking them, baking them, and all those things, different
Pardon,
colors.
what seeds? What seeds, sorry?
Mabele seeds.
What type of seeds are those?
Wheat.
Okay.
Wheat, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that was also part of exploring that I had to undergo. Yeah.
You said earlier on that you sort of have the patience, and you like taking your time with artworks, and to, you know, and to work, take your time. So very labor, I would like summarize as saying, being very labor intensive. With beads,
Yes.
because beads is such a challenging medium, I can understand it's quite labor intensive. Explain to
Yes, it
my
is.
listeners through the process. So how would you start from the drawing to the bead to the end of the product? Where will you start? And yeah, just even you can even use the artwork behind you as an example.
Okay. Let me just start. I'll use
Sure.
this one.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's have a studio tour. Sinalo, can you just my listeners, can you change your phone landscape so we can get a more panoramic view
Okay.
of your studio? Sure, like that.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. Just like this artwork here. What I normally start with is sketching. I need to get my sketch perfect, and then I start to go on and fill in the outlines with beads. Where beads are needed, where beads are not needed, I leave it like that. Just like this lady here. it's only the flesh, hair flesh, and some of the designs, like especially on the what do you call this, scarf on the head. Yes, that's done on beads, but the rest is just paint. So I think being also a painter helped a lot because I'm able to understand colors.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and how to mix colors. Because this has pulled me into, this is a recent one. Since I'm busy with I was busy with the yellow series, but I just seem not, I don't seem to leave this yellow series. Now and then it draws me back. I just love the yellow. To me, it's a color of hope. It has given me hope. It has, I started with the yellow series, I think before lockdown. And then what I normally, what really changed my thought about it was the way I saw the quietness on the streets during the lockdown. In my studio here, it's just next to the road where a lot of kids pass in the mornings and in the afternoon. So the coronavirus thing came back with a lot of silence.
Yeah.
And then I decided that, you know what, one day we are going to miss seeing kids going to school, because it's possible that we want to have these pandemics happening currently, like more often, you know. So that's why I wanted to just start to bring back the memories and to give them life even then, and especially because why I chose kids. I thought of myself, my life was nearly short-knifed while I was still at high school, at school, And I wished I would have went to a varsity as I had hoped, but because of the condition that I had to just settle for college, and but still it worked for me, because even then, after my studies, first time entering a competition, which is a terminal art competition, I won. I won it twice, so actually, 2011 and 2013. And that to me, it says something.
My brother, interesting. Just one or two quick points. About the color yellow. You say that you picked it up just before COVID. I've actually noticed that very specific yellow was actually quite trending across I think actually South Africa around about that time. It was in fashion. A lot of wood. So it's interesting that you sort of picked it up because I did as well. And it's quite interesting how you or rather the symbolism behind it, how you related to hope and so forth. I find that's also pretty interesting. My brother, just a quick technical thingy. We're kind of running out of time, but I'd like us to talk a little bit more about those awards. That'll be cool. And about your current show, or not current show, but about the show you had a few months or weeks ago, but it was now recently, and like your future projects and stuff. So I'm just gonna wrap up this session really quick, and then send you another link, and then we can wrap it up with those other questions, huh?
All right.
Sure, my Alti.
Okay.
And we are back. So Sinalo, you were telling me we were talking about your work, about the color, about the beads. You told us about how you conceptualize the women and the beads and how and the process behind it. One of the things that also strikes me is pretty loud about your work. It really radiates a lot of positivity. I don't get any and if you made this body of work over the last 3 years, we've been COVID and all this other bullshit that followed COVID. So the space that a lot of artists found themselves in is a very complicated space. So to sort of conceptualize all of that and to use this sort of sense of positivity, I think is quite interesting. Um, and can you just describe to my listeners a little bit about that? So about creating the, you know, working on the body work. Where were you? You know, where's your studio based? What type? You know, that type of thing.
Okay. Now I'm based here at Oga's house. It's
Sure.
number 76 N Street. Um, it's my third year now. I think the coronavirus found me in here, so I was already in the building. So there was nothing else to do outside. So I was stuck in here. I just had to keep pushing, and in a way, art to me, especially this technique, the beading technique, it's like it's a therapy to me.
Sure.
It's very therapeutic to my mind, because I don't have to think of how much behind am I compared to my peers who I grew up with. I think of how best can I do what I do, you know, and I'm always fascinated with the final piece when it's done, and I shock myself. I don't think it's me who did this, but yeah, it was I. So I don't know if maybe I've diverted already from your
No,
question,
no, no, no.
but
I get what you're saying. Just the point there when you're saying that you, I like the way you say that COVID found you in August. I was I get that. So all of a sudden you had to just adapt to everything.
yeah,
A lot of artists who I spoke to on my podcast said a similar thing about using the the sort of the hard lockdown to sort of to refocus, and the fact that most of us use our work as a form of self therapy. I do as well. In
yeah,
fact, I use the
yeah,
podcast as that as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I kind of, you know, that actually makes me think that your work actually adds another personal level to your work, which I think is quite extraordinary. So tell us about the show, man. What was it called? Where did you have it? How many pieces were there, and so forth? You know, let's just start with the technical things.
Oh yeah, the Yellow series. It
Oh, was
happened
it?
in Morningside.
It was called the Yellow Series, no?
Yes, just called the Yellow series. It happened in Morningside. Um, it was just an opportunity that I got to reach out to the clients or to the viewers around the Sentin area,
Yeah, man.
and and the turn up was very good, and there were a lot of because by that time I was working with an agent from France, so there were quite a number of French people, and they collected works because it was a fascinating thing to them also to see such kind of material being used this way. So yeah, that's what the thing. What I like is to show people. That's why in most of my work, I don't stick to one medium. At times you'll see seeds, at times you see a lot of collage, at times you see, because I don't want a boring exhibition
Mm.
where your eye becomes um, sees everything as normal as there's no difference. I don't want to get bored. I
I
don't
see
want
what you're
my
saying.
viewers also to get
Can you
bored.
show
Yes,
us?
I don't want my viewers.
Can you show us examples of some of the collage works? Because we know the paintings, we know
Yeah.
the bead works. Is there examples of some
Yeah.
of that?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I think I do have like here. There's this one. It's a pointillism technique, watercolor painting with a
Okay.
collage, a little bit of collage though. And
Okay, I can tell.
at times a piece will interest me that I would think of using another medium on the very same artwork.
Mm.
So yeah, it's marvelous seats and the beats and the
Yeah.
hair. Yeah. So um, I do stretch myself that in that way by taking one theme and maybe portraying three artworks at the same, which are similar, but in different techniques.
Sure. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
type of material do you use for the collage? Is it paper or what are you using?
For collage, I use paper and acrylic gel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the Yellow series, when was the show out?
The Yellow series was shown showing last year in May last
Yeah.
year.
So this is a question I actually quite interested to know from a bunch of visual artists. So okay, so May, that's quite a while. That's close to, in a way, my maths is poor, but it's more than, it's about close to 9 months ago, I hope.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
anyway, my maths. Anyway, so do you feel as a visual artist that you need to do another body of work, or before you answer that, are you represented by any gallery at the moment?
At the moment, not by any gallery because I have my works in different galleries at the moment.
Okay, that actually will explain the question I want to ask earlier. So how does that work? So if you have in multiple, so you do everything on your own, or is there
Yes.
somebody out there who? So explain to us, how does
Uh,
that work? How do you get it into multiple different spaces? And is there any conflict of interest between the one gallery versus the other?
yes, I think there is. What really made me start looking for a gallery to work with is for exposure, because on social media we do get exposure, but not really to art lovers and art collectors. You understand what I'm saying? We get people who just love art, and some will be just criticizing art, but we don't get the people who are buyers, who are collectors, who are investors in art. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to start really getting into galleries. Yeah, I think I was warned not to work with many galleries at the same time because I'll end up losing my work and not knowing what happened to this one and where was this. So all those things, I don't want to get confused. So yeah, at the moment I'm just dealing maybe with 2, 3 galleries.
Okay, I get that. That actually refers back to my early on question that I wanted to. So, if you did a show in May, do you is there any pressure by anybody for you to put together another body of work, or are you just doing work sort of how can I put it to you? Okay. Let me rather not go to the second question. Basically, is there? Are you working on or are you thinking of doing another solo show anytime soon?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm in contact with another with another gallery in Cape Town. I think in September. Yeah, I think in September then I will have a show.
Interesting. So, what are you gonna what type of work are you gonna put up? Are you gonna be working on for that?
What interested them is actually the my old works and connecting them to the recent works.
Okay.
How the journey itself. So what they said is they would love to also showcase everything.
Sure.
So yeah, that I'm free in that way. That I don't have to push so much. I can take time to master some of the works that I think um, they must lay a mark in
Mm.
Cape Town for me.
I get you. I
Yeah,
get you. I
yeah,
get you. I
yeah,
get you.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so September is actually not that far away. to be honest.
Yeah,
Have
No,
you
it's not
started
that.
working on it already?
Yes, I've started working on it already.
Can you show us some of the work?
No, the works are not here.
Okay.
I've kept them somewhere. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
I've kept them.
It'll be really cool to do a follow-up show around about then when the work is done. You could explain to us techniques, processes, and so forth.
Yeah,
I just wanna raise just one quick point, and I'm gonna wrap up here. Is that I've been in my personal capacity, I've been working as an entrepreneur more than an artist recently, and I'm putting
yeah,
together I'm building a platform for artists like yourself and me and others.
yeah,
That it's gonna be it's an app, and the artists will be able to take control of their own content. We're just working on a few technical things regarding that. I will definitely holler at you regarding that, so you can just test it, see if you like it, what you don't like. Because I find a bunch of there's a few things that you said that I'm just looking at my notes here, that you said that really
okay,
resonates, which really resonates with me, and I'm sure my audience will as well. I don't think I'm gonna highlight them just for my own sake. I'll market it. Sorry, I don't think I'll highlight them on this platform. But like I think you said some really really interesting stuff, my brother. I think that the I still can't. I mean, if I go through your Instagram page, the yellow is strong. It actually, personally, it actually reminds me of 2018, and 2019, and
yeah,
then and then then COVID hit. I think it actually gives me a sense of so I like early mornings. So if you wake
yeah,
up early in the morning, if you get that sunlight, either outside, inside, it doesn't matter. It gives me that. There's also I get a lot of sense of hope, but
yeah,
not just like hope in a like genuine hope. I don't know if that's a thing, but like
yeah,
I really
yeah,
get a sense of that. And your shit is happy, bro. Your work is your work is happy.
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
it's genuinely like your figures and your the fact that your time, the labor put into it, I mean, it's loud. I mean,
yeah.
I can tell. And I just think I want to highlight that. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, you were to say
Thanks,
something.
man. Thanks.
Sure, sure, sure,
Yeah,
sure, sure.
no, I think you know what we all need just to be happy. We all need to love each other and to feel loved. So that's why in most of my work, I just portray what can make one um, feel happy of being who they are and of the place where they come from. Because especially when portraying the taxi washers on the street, just about any corner you find a taxi being
Mm-hmm.
washed by a guy or two.
Mm-hmm.
That also you can't find it anywhere but in South Africa and mostly here in Joburg.
Mm-hmm.
So such things they fascinate me because it's like I'm documenting
Yeah.
something that might disappear after some time.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, you have a very good point there. Artists, that's one of our chief or one of our primary roles. Really, if you want to capture
Yeah,
any type part of history, just look at the
yeah,
poetry and the visual art of the time. Um,
yeah.
Sinalo, do you have any other closing remarks, my king? If any of my listeners wanna view your work, contact you, and so forth, what other platforms is your work available on?
Okay. Yeah, my work is available. You can please find me on 073 on WhatsApp, and also on Instagram it's Sinalo TN, SINALO. lotn@gmail.com. Thank you.
For sure, for sure. And the artwork in Cape Town, what galleries there? If there's any listeners in that part of the world that want to go and view your work, that's on that side.
It's Mueller Art Gallery. I'm still in talks with them, but I have a few works also at Collins Bay.
Okay.
In this art gallery.
Okay, dope. So if anybody else wants any other information, they can just hit you up either on your WhatsApp or on Instagram, correct?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. My brother, thanks a lot for coming through, man. As I said, like I think I really enjoy the technique a lot. I think it's probably also a very South African thing to work with beads, as we know, like in this,
yes.
bead working is really core to our culture. So
Yeah.
that's very interesting. It is also interesting you're sharing some of like the coma and like the days at APS. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So my brother, thanks a lot for coming through, man. I will publish this episode this coming week actually. So we publish the Art Lexcia on every Friday. And I usually try to do it just before 12 noon, usually between 10 and 11 12 noon. And I'll let you know on WhatsApp when we publish. To all my other listeners, guys, like remember you can catch me on all my all my social media platforms. So that's Wesley Pepper on all the platforms and the Art Lexcia on Facebook. And remember, our email address is theartlexia.podcast@gmail.com. If anybody wants to hit us up for either guests or stuff like that, or anything related to the podcast, I should, I'll inform you guys on social media with regards to the African Genius podcast with Asal Kebalan. Thanks a lot for everybody. My brother Sinalo, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, my king. I hope you do some good work. Looking forward to the work in September, and we'll touch base on social media. I think his screen froze there, but we are done, and that's a wrap. World. Catch you next week. One love.